Hey guys, in this video I'll be comparing two Iranian bodybuilders, Hadi Choopan and Behrouz Tabani. Many have drawn similarities between these two, whether it be for their shape, conditioning, or solely due to their ethnic background. I believe that these two are very similar when it comes to their strengths, and this should make for a fun comparison. Obviously, Behrouz isn't at the same level as Hadi, an Olympia and Arnold Classic winning competitor, so this comparison is more so about drawing parallels than anything else. Also, please let me know if there are any videos you want to see on the channel, as I always do read the comments to get inspiration for new videos. With that all being said though, let's get into this comparison. Alright, the first pose, the front double, highlights the structural resemblance that these two share. Both possess extremely small waists and full flared lats that sweep up into wide, impressive clavicles. Neither have the best arms, however the shape, conditioning, and size are all relatively comparable. Of course, Hadi does have more defined separation in the arms and a more aesthetic midsection, mainly due to genetic insertions. However, Behrouz's shape upstairs is phenomenal. The quads are where this pose diverges, as Hadi pulls ahead with those incredibly swept and dense quads, while Behrouz fails to match Hadi's likeness. His quad sweep isn't as pronounced, and it sort of hurts his flow, causing him to look top-heavy. Honestly, everything about Hadi looks twice as good, since he is more detailed, has better muscular development, and flows perfectly. That being said, Behrouz has all the tools to be a Hadi Choopan-esque bodybuilder, I guess, granted that his quads aren't a genetic limitation. The front lat spread is a very nice pose for these two, mainly because of their immense shoulder width. Hadi is more impressive in this aspect, since he is shorter while having similar if not more clavicle width. This allows him to open up incredibly wide, showcasing those bulbous lats and trim waistline. Behrouz isn't a slouch though, having some very solid lats of his own, superb arm separation, and so much upper body mass. That arm separation is something you fail to see on a lot of top guys these days, as it's so pleasing to see the brachialis tie in with the bicep and tricep. Once again, Behrouz gets outclassed though in the quads, not showcasing nearly as much detail nor size downstairs. Possibly a more narrow-legged stance could remedy some of his issues, as posing isn't his biggest strength. However, I'm not sure that he has the quad sweep to do so. As it is, both are relatively competitive upstairs, but the difference between an Olympia champion and an up-and-coming IFBB pro is clearly seen with the difference in the leg size. Moving on into the side chest, we can see that both present tons of thickness in the arms and delts and solid separation in the chest. Behrouz isn't posing effectively in my opinion, as you could see that in the transition he was heavily breathing, and in the pose he isn't tucking his waist in. This ruins what could be a killer shot, since his chest and delt are thicker than Hadi's and his arm is comparable in size and definition. Similar to Nick Walker, Behrouz has some lagging legs from the front, but from the side they showcase so much mass and separation thanks to those hanging hamstrings. If anything, I am more impressed with Behrouz in the sheer size that he presents downstairs, along with the mass in the upper body, almost dwarfing Hadi in certain areas. That being said, Hadi is composed and polished, especially in that midsection, and has finer cuts in the side leg. This is what most definitely allowed him to beat a much larger, fuller Samson Dauda, who outmuscled him in many areas. If Behrouz wants to win this pose against a guy like Hadi, he needs to be able to control that midsection and fix his posing to appear more statuesque and less uncomfortable. Here's the rear double, not the strongest pose for either, however on a relative scale, this is a stronger pose for Behrouz than it is for Hadi. This is because Hadi's competition all have comparable back development, if not better, while Behrouz normally has the best back in any competition he steps into. You can see that their backs are similar in size, width, and development, sharing the same lat insertions and thickness to that lower back. Interestingly, while both are extremely conditioned frontally, I feel as though neither are the same from behind. Obviously, these two are ripped and shredded, however their glutes and hamstrings could be drier to match their front, with this statement being directed towards Hadi more so than Behrouz. Honestly, Hadi's only real advantage is that he has a similar back on a smaller stature, since Behrouz is considerably drier downstairs and has just as good if not better arms and shoulders. It may sound crazy, but I'd give Behrouz this pose, since he impresses me more downstairs and has a competitive, comparable upper body. That being said though, this isn't Hadi's best pose, and he still has a very compelling argument for winning as well. Now, the rear double is a completely different story as Hadi opens up so wide thanks to his incredible clavicle width. He also showcases better lower back density and separation, but not by much. Behrouz is still just as impressive in the hamstrings and glutes, having drier, grainier condition with more intricate striations. He is exceptional in the back thickness once again, rivaling that of Hadi but lacks the same width and flare of the lats, which is ultimately his downfall. This is definitely a genetic limitation in my opinion, since his back is clearly maxed out when it comes to width, or very, very close to it. Possible changes to posing could help the illusion of width, however, I think that he is already as wide as he can be. Obviously, he's not bad by any means, however, Hadi is really just in a different league when it comes to width. The side tricep is actually a clear-cut, dominating victory for Hadi, really no questions asked. I know this isn't about who's winning necessarily, however, just look at how much better Hadi is in that midsection. I mean, he's absolutely killing Behrouz in detail, composure, and aesthetics, and that trend is seen almost in every other body part. While Behrouz might have superior chest fullness, similar arm size, a great delt, and a massive side leg, his lack of midsection control completely ruins the pose. There really isn't much else to be said since Behrouz could easily be very competitive in this pose if he had a tight, locked-in midsection. However, it looks 3 times as wide as Hadi's, and he looks as if he's about to collapse. Here's the ab and thigh, a pose which is like a father versus son comparison. This is due to the fact that both are structurally similar, but one is head and shoulders better than the other. That person would obviously be Hadi, who crushes it in the ab, oblique, and serratus definition, having one of the deepest, most separated and chiseled midsections ever. It's so detailed and extremely small, which is accentuated by those flared lats and bowed quads. Behrouz also has an extremely commendable midsection, possessing solid ab separation and a similarly small, if not smaller, waist. His V-taper is nearly as good as Hadi's, and his quads, while I personally don't like the way they are posed, are cut and shredded. Behrouz could definitely win this pose against a lot of top guys, but in this case, Hadi absolutely knocks this one out of the park by a rather large margin. Turning around to the front and finishing off this comparison, we have the most muscular. These two present 2 of the most impressive upper bodies in this variation, having deep striations in the chest, crazy round and full delts, separated arms, and tight, small, and detailed midsections. Like in every frontal pose, Hadi takes the win in the legs, having twice the thickness and outer quad sweep. Behrouz isn't bad though, with his legs looking more proportional than ever. In my opinion, he wins the arms and delts and has more freak factor and size in those areas, while Hadi wins the chest, midsection, and quads. I'd still have Hadi winning the pose overall for his overall completeness and his superior condition. However, Behrouz could easily take this pose against many of the top 10 Olympia competitors. Alright guys, that's it for this video. In short, while Behrouz didn't convincingly win any pose, he pushed Hadi extremely hard from behind and in poses like the front double and in the most muscular. If he had fixed his midsection and posed better, he could have even pushed him in the side poses. I fully believe that he could be within the top 10 or even the top 7 at the Olympia with a more polished presentation, and let me know if you guys agree. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.